Yeah, I have no idea how you could do it.
You would be pushing the heat and smoke back down into the building.
I wonder whether they might be able to get close enough to try and abseil sideways in. I don't know if they could even do that, but you just think you would try anything at this stage.
Again, you'd be pushing the smoke and heat back into those.
Yeah. And you can see firefighters aiming their jets at small outbreaks of fire or where the fire is burning, as you say, and there's still material in that block which is not burned, and so they just seem to be following the fire as it still burns 6 hours after the blaze took light. Our correspondent Jonathan Swain is just 100 metres from the tower. Jonathan, Dr. Mansi was describing the intense smoke and heat, obviously, that firefighters inside the tower will be battling with still hours later. Even 100 metres from the tower, Jonathan, you can feel it, can't you?
We've had it falling down on us all morning. It is getting, I have to say, more and more dangerous standing here about 100, 150 or so metres away from it. You hear these loud pops, these fizzes, this noise. And obviously, I just spoke to a firefighter who had sweat and water pouring off his face. He'd just been into the building. I said, how is it in there? They are trying to clear floor by floor, as I think your expert in the studio is saying. But of course, the heat is so intense in there. There is really only so much that these firefighters really can do, because the further up the building you get to, if you just sort of pan the camera up, you can just sort of see how sort of burnt out the top layers of that building is. The gentleman we've been watching all mornings on the 11th floor, we understand, so there are another 10 or so floors above him, and you really have to fear for what has happened to those poor families who have been trapped in this building, because we've been talking to eyewitnesses who have seen them at the window flashing their torchlights, but that was at around 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I have Mary Brown with me, who lives very close by. You're in a bit of distressed state this morning, completely understandably, because Mary, you have friends who live there.
Yes, I do. I have a friend, a very close friend that lives in the building. She lives on the 5th floor. I woke up this morning seeing everybody, coming out from their houses, the noise from the helicopter, the siren, the firefighters, we woke up and we couldn't sleep. I was wondering what was going on, only for me to, realize people were taking photos, pictures, with their phones, the flashes, and I couldn't see anything from my landing, so I need to, go to the other balcony, and I saw the building, and I could, immediately recognize the building. That was the building my friend lives in. She lives on the 5th floor.
Your friend this morning?
I haven't heard from her, but with our very best friend, which is my friend, I've spoken to her, and she said she and her 2 children and husband are okay.
So that's good.
But our mother-in-law, Minera's mother-in-law, is still trapped in the building, and we don't know, her state right now, which,
And do you know what floor the mother-in-law is?
Actually, I don't know. I don't know. But, aside from that, I have friends, live in that building, whereby I don't really know their names, but we meet at the leisure center. We have children that swim together. Just right opposite the building is where we have the North Kensington Leisure Center, and opposite is where my sons, play football every week at the KAA school. So, it's really sad. It's horrific, to see this kind of thing happening right now.
You've got your family to look after as well. You've got friends, haven't you? Just
yeah.
children here as well that you're looking after, friends.